Braves get in a huge fight. They're punching people with balls. The Red Sox get into a fight. Rockies even got into a fight. The Rockies got 100 shirtless men at their games. The city of Pittsburgh has to order a warning because the fans are stealing and wearing traffic cones. You also got the defending AL champions who are absolutely cooked right now, the Blue Jays. They find themselves in last place. They boo Shohei. And they boo Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker declined to go to the Blue Jays and instead went to go to the Dodgers, took the easy way out. And what did? They 2 for 6 with a homer for Shohei. Kyle Tucker goes 1 for 3, scores 3 runs. The Dodgers get 17 hits, score 14 runs. Embarrasses them. Max Scherzer leaves game 1 with an injury. Jays have Looney Dollar Dog Night. Over 100,000 hot dogs, bro. And the Phillies pushed out 43,000 hot dogs at their Dollar Dog Night. Okay, the Blue Jays just doubled that. Gates opened at 5:30, so the dogs were for sale for 288 minutes, averaged out to 335.5 hot dogs per minute. So they sell 100,000 hot dogs, but the game doesn't go well. All right, there's a massive freak out on the mound. So Kevin Gausman, pitcher for the Blue Jays, balks. The rule with the balk is you got to come to a complete stop. John Schneider says whether he did or not, he does it every fucking time. So if you're going to call it this time, then you got to call it every time. And I haven't seen a freak out this good I can't remember a freak out this good, but this guy just turns a color of red you don't normally see. Screams in his fucking face, gets right into it, says, he even bumps the hat. Well, they end up losing that game as well. Game 3, they got Shohei on the mound. Goes 6th inning, gives up 1 run, 0 earned runs, 4 hits, 1 walk. Shohei Ohtani's reached base 46 games in a row. That is the longest active streak, while simultaneously having the longest active streak of consecutive innings pitched without allowing an earned run. 7 for 28, 3 home runs this week, 2 leadoff home runs in a row. Win 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, and then they win 2 out of 3 against the Rangers. Lead the league in average, OPS, and homers, 2nd in runs and 2nd on base percentage. Best record in baseball. Patrick Corbin is pitching for the Blue Jays. Gives up 4 runs. Eric Lauer goes game 2, gives up 7 runs. In game 3, Scherzer goes again, gives up 8 runs. So that's the 2nd game in a row that Scherzer can't get out of the 3rd inning. If you look at the injured list, it's not looking good. Bowden Francis out for the season. Cody Ponce, he's out for the season. Jose Barrios hasn't pitched yet. Shane Bieber also hasn't pitched yet. And Trey Savage also injured. So that is 5 starting pitchers on the IL. George Springer goes down with an injured toe against the Twins. Alejandro Kirk, he's hurt. He's going to be out for some months. Addison Barger and Anthony Santander also not playing for the Blue Jays. They're not the only struggling team in the AL East. The Red Sox 2-8 to start, worst record in baseball. So Wilson Contreras challenges the Brewers to a brawl. This is a guy who eats the tape off his bat, so not a guy you want to fuck with. Contreras has this long running beef with the Brewers. 2021, he got hit on a check swing. The Cubs retaliated by throwing behind Woodruff. Contreras hits a home run in the game. He shushes the crowd and says the Brewers picked the wrong guy to throw at. Last year, Caleb Durbin of the Brewers collides with Contreras at first. Contreras was talking shit to the Brewers dugout. Next at bat, Jose Quintana hits Contreras and picks the ball up, runs around, goes out of his way, and hands it to him. Says later he knows that it wasn't on purpose, that him and Quintana are very close. However, later in that game when he gets a home run, he stares down the Brewers dugout, shuffles and stares him down. On Monday, he gets hit by Brandon Woodruff. This is the 24th time he's been hit by a Brewers pitcher. 24 fucking times. He's sounding off. He starts screaming at the umpires and the Brewers. So Woodruff has hit him 6 times in his career. That was the 6th time. The umpires have to issue warnings. So on the very next play, he slides in hard in second base and spikes David Hamilton. This escalates things even further. After the game, Contreras says, quote, "They always hit me, but that gets old. So next time, if they hit me again, I'm going to take one of them out." That's a message. Brewers, on the other hand, don't seem scared. Christian Yelich says, "We've been through this. It seems like every year." Woodruff says he's trying to play a game and he's trying to get his side fired up. "I knew I had a job to do." The Brewers are saying, "Stop playing the tough guy. You ain't going to do shit." They roll out for game 2. Everyone's expecting a fight. Mizorowski's on the mound, strikes him out with 100 and says, "Let's go. Fuck you." Contreras stares him down, comes back in the 4th, gets a single, then walks his next 2 at bats. So no fight. But I will say, the Red Sox came into the series 2-8 with the worst record in baseball. Since the fight, 4-1. They win 2 out of 3 against the Brewers, and then 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. Wilson Contreras by himself, 836 OPS. Only Wilner Abreu has hit better than him, and he leads the AL in WAR. Contreras, after a series in Boston, goes back to his former team, the Cardinals. He gets a standing ovation. Very first pitch, gets hit again. They are in last place still, but only 2 games back. Brewers, on the other hand, this fight put them in the opposite direction. direction. They are 0-5. First time since June 2023 they've lost 5 games in a row, and they get swept by the Nationals at home. And Christian Yelich is now injured. Pat Murphy says they expect it to be bad news. A 5.37 ERA this week. In game 1, the Nationals put 3 bunts in the 9th inning. That scored 3 runs on 3 bunts. Brewers get 0 outs on 3 bunts. James Wood steals home against the Brewers. Gary Sanchez tries to kill his own pitcher with a throw in game 2. One of the funniest errors you'll see, injures his own pitcher in the first inning and fall to the 4th in the NL Central. Well, this is the Pirates division. Pirates are America's team right now. They got this cone shit going on. The fans have cones. People are wearing cone costumes to games. There's a cone in the bullpen. Apparently, there's been a spike in stolen cones in Pittsburgh. They had to release a PSA, the city, to stop people from stealing cones. According to Jake Magnum, the cone celebration started in Cincinnati. So the Pirates, to start the season, were 6 for 45 with runners in scoring position. They had stranded 40 men on base. According to Jake Magnum, quote, "We had a lot of traffic on the bases early. We just haven't directed them home. We need a traffic cone to make sure they got home." So the traffic cones are to get people home. What do? They go 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position, including a home run. They end up winning 8-3. Ever since then, they've been bringing the cone everywhere. He says this about directing people home, but the real cone origin comes because Fanatics fucked up again. They randomly started selling Pirates t-shirts that said, quote, "Hoist the cone," and no one knew what that meant. It's likely that they misprinted these shirts. They were supposed to say "Hoist the Colors," which is a reference to Pirates. Instead, they say "Hoist the Cone," and ever since then, they've just been rocking with the cone. According to the parking people, 25 cones were stolen on opening day. Quote, "They're costly to replace, so they're worried about the cone prices." The county has to post a PSA warning people not to steal the cones. It is illegal to steal traffic cones. Fines start at $50 plus the cost of a cone. Since the cone shit, they're 8-3. They have the best record in baseball. They have the best team ERA in baseball and are in first place. All because of the cone, man. They lose 2-3 to the Padres and then win 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. So they were 1 run away from sweeping the Cubs. In the 8th, the Pirates make 2 throwing errors in 1 play that allows the game-tying run to score. End up losing on a Carson Kelly walk-off. 3rd best starter's ERA this year so far. Paul Skeens is the worst starter on the staff right now, according to his ERA. Granted, that is literally just because of 2 misplays. That just goes to show how great this starting staff is. Connor Griffin just signed the largest contract in Pirates history, 9 years, $140 million for a guy who played 5 MLB games. In MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL history, Connor Griffin is the only player to sign a 9-figure contract as a teenager. Paul Skeens makes a quote that says, quote, "He's going to be the face of the Pirates for a long time." Why aren't you going to be the face of the Pirates, Paul Skeens? Are you expecting to leave? And the answer to that is yes. There's no way Paul Skeens stays to the Pirates once he gets to free agency. But until then, watch out for the Pirates. Cubs are in last place. Win 2 out of 3 against Jack's Rays, and then they lose 2 out of 3 to the Pirates. Shota Imanaga, though, 9 Ks, 0 hits allowed against the Pirates on Friday. At the end of the season, the playoffs, he wasn't even a starter. Cubs were like, "We need to figure this out, Shota. You're falling off a cliff." But early in the season, 2.81 ERA. Also, Edward Cabrera, he's got a 1.62 ERA. They got the 6th best starting staff in the league so far. And the Reds are right above them. The Reds, though, lost 4 out of 5 this week. Dallas Stewart's a beast. He's got a 1,035 OPS, and Ali De La Cruz is heating up. He's got a 924 OPS, but other than that, no one on the team has an OPS over 664. They're 9-7 with the 26th worst offense and the 27th worst starters ERA. That is crazy. I really think that's just because the starters ERA is very skewed because this week was just that bad. So Brady Singer gives up 5 earned runs and 10 hits in just 2 2/3 against the Marlins. And Rhett Lauder gives up 4 earned runs, only strikes out 2 against the Marlins. And Andrew Abbott gives up 7 earned runs against the Angels. Brandon Williamson gives up 3 earned runs and walks 6 batters against the Angels. And Chase Burns gives up 5 earned runs, 2 bombs, only strikes out 2 in 5 1/3 against the Angels. Starters this week, 7.24 ERA. They lose 4 out of 5. Let's talk about the Rockies. A couple guys took their shirts off, started chanting, "Take it off." Then they began chanting, "One of us," because they just started multiplying. Turns out there's over 100 shirtless spectators up there who complete a 3-game sweep of the Houston Astros. They've won 4 straight games, surged back to 500 on the season. The Rockies were 500 for the first time since 2022. Now they're starting talking playoffs. Mickey Moniak comes out saying he would cut off his finger to make the playoffs with the Rockies. Rockies are hot. We're getting excited. Unfortunately, they go to San Diego and they get swept by the Padres. Lose 4 games. Xander Bogaerts walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 12th.
Slam Diego to walk it off! San Diego.
Bogey goes boom in San Diego. And then what happens the very next day?
It's back! A 3-run home run to walk it off! Holy sheets!
Back-to-back walk-offs. That is 7 runs worth of walk-off home runs in 2 days. 28 runs in 4 games against the Rock Show. Padres only have 3 everyday players who are above league average hitters, but they've won 5 in a row, 8 of their last 9. This was without Tatis, so Tatis has had a tough season so far. Going into Friday, 100th percentile in hard hit percentage, 93rd percentile for average exit velocity, and 90th percentile for barrel percentage, but he didn't have a single home run. He's batting .228 with a .298 slugging and a .612 OPS for Tatis, who's just really getting unlucky. Played second base this weekend.
5 hits after saying the baseball gods hate him. They moved him to second, suddenly. Baseball gods on his side.
The player who's really ass for the Padres, sorry for cursing, struck out 11 batters in a row, has struck out 17 of the last 18 batters he's faced. On Wednesday, he struck out 2 batters in 1 inning, and his strikeout percentage went down. He's given up 1 hit all year. He struck out a batter going 103.4 miles per hour, so he's throwing gas. Okay, his average fastball this year, 101.9 miles per hour. He's averaging 102 miles per hour on his fastball, 24.75 K per 9. If you include the 2025 postseason, the 2026 World Baseball Classic, Mason Miller has thrown 32 1/3 straight scoreless innings. Currently, he's first in strikeouts, first in strikeout percentage, best whip, best ERA, and leads the league in WAR amongst relievers. And here's the most crazy stat. Mason Miller this season has 19 strikeouts. Mason Miller this season has thrown 20 balls. He's thrown 20 balls and then 19 times strikeout. So he is the best reliever in baseball. So Ichiro was inducted to the Hall of Fame last summer. He got his number retired. They unveil an Ichiro statue. They rip the curtain off it, and it breaks the freaking statue, dude. The sculptor was there to watch it, witnessing his statue being broken in half, and he is in pure and utter shock. The Mariners, heading into the series, they lose 5 in a row. They had lost 7 out of 8 going into the series. During that stretch, they were last in average, last in on-base percentage, last in strikeouts, last in OPS. Cal Raleigh had a 125 average, Josh Naylor 172 average, Julio Rodriguez 494 OPS. They were last in runs, 16 runs in 8 games. And then they go into this series against the Astros. They scored 23 runs in 3 games. Friday, they scored 9 runs. All 9 batters for a run. Saturday, they're down 7-2, end up coming back on a J.P. Crawford walk-off. And Sunday, score 6 more runs, so they sweep the Astros. Had a lot of production out of guys you wouldn't expect it out of. Brendan Donovan, 973 OPS. Luke Raley, 846 OPS. Dominic Calzone, 126 OPS plus. And Cole Young, already a 1.1 WAR, a 139 OPS plus. But Rodriguez, Naylor, and Cal Raleigh have not played well. At least they got the sweep against the Astros. Maybe the Astros just suck ass. Probably one of the worst weeks in Astros history. They got swept by the Rockies, lose 3 in a row to the Mariners. They've lost 7 games in a row for the Astros. Tied for the worst record in baseball. They've scored the most runs in baseball. So they've scored the most runs and given up the most runs. Mike Burrow's 5.63 ERA has allowed the most hits in baseball. Lance McCullers Jr. gave up 6 runs in his last start, 5.87 ERA. Hatsui Imai only recorded 1 out on Friday, allowed 3 runs on just 1 hit, walked 4 guys, got pulled in the first inning, has a 7.27 ERA.
He got put on the IL like 13 minutes ago.
Christian Javier has a 12.54 ERA, has given up more runs than any pitcher in MLB, and was pulled on Wednesday with a strained shoulder. He is on the 15-day IL. Hunter Brown, who is their ace, he's pitched amazing this year, but he is on the IL with the same injury. Their starter on Sunday, Cody Bolton, leaves in the 2nd inning with injuries, go 1-8 and lose 4 pitchers to injury. They score 47 runs in 8 games, have the 3rd best offense in baseball during that stretch, and go 1-8. That is the coldest team in baseball. The hottest team in baseball, formerly known as the Oakland Athletics. The Athletics go to New York. They win 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. Then they sweep the mighty Mets. They're doing the fence celebration. This is pretty cool, bro. They got this new celebration where they pretend like they're on trank. They got Jeffrey Springs, 1.47 ERA through 3 starts. Took a no-hitter against the Yankees into the 7th. Aaron Savali, 1.72 ERA through 3 starts. They shut out the Yankees. Next day, they go from New York to New York, and they shut out the Mets. So they shut out the Yankees and Mets on back-to-back days. That is the first time in MLB history a team has done that. They sweep the Mets for the first time in franchise history. So the Mets and Yankees both have lost 5 games in a row. That is the first time that's happened in history. The Yankees have lost 5 in a row by a combined 6 runs. They're calling Jazz Chisholm the dumbest player in the league. Bottom of the 10th, it's a tie game. Bases are loaded. This is against Jack's Rays. Ground ball goes to second base. Jazz can't field it. The Yankees lose. The only way Jazz Chisholm can prevent the loss is to turn this into a double play. Afterwards, they ask him about the play. He says, quote, "I was going to try to tag the runner and just throw it to first. I don't know what the rule is. If I went to first base first, then threw it back to second, is it still an out? Is it a double play? I don't know. Does it not count as an RBI?" Kind of something you should know as a starting second baseman in MLB. Jazz Chisholm also gets yelled at for pitch location on Sunday. He's telling the batter where the pitch is going to be. Drew Rasmussen screams at him, then apologizes later. But Jazz Chisholm right now, 179 average, 233 on base percentage, 268 slugging, 501 OPS, and a -.2 WAR for him. However, quote, "It's cold. It's literally all it is." So like I said, cold excuse. Not a bad excuse. It could be because it's cold. Jazz from Bahamas. Bahamas is warm. So after winning 7 of their first 8 games, the Yankees have lost 6 of their last 7, and they have fallen from first place. The Mets, even worse. The Mets have lost 5 games in a row. Came into the week 7-4. They were in first place. Now they're in last place. Well, first they lose 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, then they get swept by the Athletics. So coming into Sunday, Lindor is batting 167 with a 296 on base percentage. His sprint speed is down 1.2 feet per second. So last week, he loses track of outs during the finale, doesn't turn the double play, then later gets picked off his first before Juan Soto hits a home run. He gets killed in the media for being an idiot. This week, can't turn a double play in the field because he's not ready for the ball. Then he gets doubled off at third base by Nick Kurtz in a pivotal moment. On Saturday, he goes for a ground ball. That's Marcus Semion's ground ball. Should have been a double play, or at least a fielder's choice to get out of the inning, but he's not there to cover the base. Lindor, uncharacteristically, is making a lot of mistakes. He got rocked at home plate earlier in the season, so some people might think that this is making him dumb. So Lindor's getting booed already. Carson Benji gets booed after an error. Francisco Alvarez, he gets booed after he allows a pass ball. They booed Kodai Senga after he allowed a home run, and this is all in the same game. The Mets now have fallen in last place behind the Nationals and behind the Marlins. They also didn't have a great week. They split a series against the Reds, and then they got swept by Tigers. Entering the 9th inning on Tuesday, Sandy Alcantara hadn't allowed a single run this season, so he's 2 outs away from his 2nd straight shutout. Gives up a double to Matt McClain, then walks Ellie De La Cruz, so they're winning 2-0. They take him out with 95 pitches. This would have been his 2nd complete game at 3 starts. Anthony Bender comes in and allows both those runs to score, so Marlins end up losing in extras. Contra comes out later and says, quote, "I think next time they have to make sure to ask me before taking me out of the game. Quote, but I respect the decision." And they lose the first place spot to the Atlanta Braves, baby. They play the Angels. Game 1 against the Angels, they got Chris Sale going, allows 6 runs in 4 innings against the Angels, walks in a runner and starts hitting himself in the head with a baseball. First time I've ever seen someone hit themselves in the face with a baseball. This starts a trend for the Braves.
Well, before I show you a man hitting another man in the face with a baseball, a quick word from today's sponsor, Ridge Wallet. I've been using Ridge Wallet for 7 months now. I love it because it's small, it's sleek, it looks amazing, and it is durable. It does everything my old wallet does, but it's probably 1/4 the size. Holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and comes in over 50 colors. All Ridge wallets have a lifetime warranty, so this is literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. It also has anti-RFID blocking technology, keeping you safe from digital pickpocketers. Yes, there are digital pickpocketers swiping your information out of your pocket, but not with Ridge. So join the masses and get a Ridge wallet with over 100,000 5-star reviews. You will not be disappointed. Right now, you can get 40% off. Just head to ridgewallet.com, use code PDE at checkout, and buy a Ridge wallet today. That's ridge.com, code PDE for 40% off. Thank you.
The next day, Jorge Soler hits a first-inning home run. The Braves go down 2-0. Jorge Soler in his career against Ronaldo Lopez, 14 for 23 with 11 RBIs, 5 home runs against Ronaldo. So next time he comes to the plate, Ronaldo Lopez got to make him uncomfortable. 2-2 count, high inside fastball, hits his hand. It's his 3rd at-bat. He throws it up and in, almost hits him. That's when Jorge Soler starts thinking, is this on purpose? Starts staring at him, starts talking shit. They exchange words, and out of nowhere, Jorge Soler charges the mound, full-on square off, full-on fight. Jorge Soler doesn't really land anything. Ronaldo Lopez fucking hits him with the baseball. So he wields the baseball. He brings out the baseball move, the same move that Chris Sale used against himself the day before. But the biggest blow was manager Walt Weiss comes in with the tackle. 62-year-old Walt Weiss brings down Jorge Soler, former MLB player. But most importantly, this guy got a black belt in Taekwondo, trained MMA for 15 to 20 years, does jiu-jitsu. While on the Rockies, he would wrestle relievers. He apparently got into a scuffle with Josh Donaldson. He put Josh Donaldson in a chokehold. Braves reign supreme. They win the fight. They win the series. Only team in MLB this year who haven't lost a series. They are 10-6, second best record in baseball behind the Dodgers. 46 run differential. That is the best in baseball. They're third in runs, third in OPS, third in average, second in homers, and fourth in on-base percentage. Braves, second best starters ERA and first best ERA for the bullpen. So the Phillies lose 2 out of 3 to the Giants, which sucks because that's the Giants' first series win. Phillies haven't won a series at Oracle Park since 2013. They get shut out in back-to-back games against the Giants. Bryson Stott, he's batting 196. Alec Boehm, 148. Adolis Garcia, 204. Not great, but Bryce Harper, he's back. He hit 526 with a 640 on-base percentage and a 895 slugging this week. 6 RBIs in his last 6 games. Came into the week with a 538 OPS. Now it's up to 902. The team, however, not as much. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks after losing to the Giants, so they lost 3 of their last 5. 6 of their 7 wins have been decided by 2 runs or less. Nothing easy early on for the Phillies, man. So the Giants, they win their first series of the year. However, according to their manager, they've already had 3 clubhouse incidents in 10 days. A couple things we were able to keep from you guys, which was great. Speaking to reporters from the dugout, quickly saying, I've done a really good job keeping things in the house. I want to brag about it. So let's tell you guys and get it out of the house. They do win their first series. It looked like the Giants were turning it around, but they just lost a series to the Orioles, 29th in runs. Patrick Bailey, Helio Ramos, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Rafael Devers all have negative WARs. The Orioles have had a great week. Not only do they win 2 out of 3 against the Giants, they swept the White Sox earlier, so they've won 5 of their last 6, and Gunnar Henderson, 6 home runs, leads the AL. Taylor Ward leads the AL in doubles. He's got a 183 OPS plus. Leody Taveras, 182 OPS plus, and Adley Rutschman with a 150 OPS plus. So there's 6 in the league in average, 6 in on-base percentage, 6 in OPS, but only 22nd in runs. They're hitting, they're not scoring. So I would say that's a positive. However, there are some negative angles you could take. Adley Rutschman, great start to the year, but he's on the IL. Hopefully he's back soon. Tyler O'Neill goes down with a concussion. Eflin's done with Tommy John. Trevor Rogers, however, he's continued his insane run. He's got a 1.89 ERA through 3 starts. And they got this guy, Craig Albernaz. He just keeps slapping asses, dude. One of the best ass slappers in the league.
He's a very enthusiastic manager.
So let's keep it in the Beltway. The Nationals, they lose the series against the Cardinals, but they sweep the Brewers. 4th best offense in baseball by runs. James Wood had an amazing week. Coming into this week was batting 125. This week, he had 545 with a 655 on-base percentage, 1,091 slugging percentage, a 1,700 OPS, and hit 3 home runs. Not to mention CJ Abrams also going off this year. He's got a 177 OPS plus. He's batting 321, 4 home runs this year. Now the starters, you might as well throw them into the Anacostia. I mean, they suck ass. 29th in starters ERA. He got a 5.51 team ERA, second worst in baseball. Another little bit of a surprising team, the Cardinals beat the Nats 2 out of 3. They scored 19 runs in 3 games. They go 500 this week. Jordan Walker is the hottest hitter in baseball. Was the worst player in baseball, arguably, the last 2 years. He arrived in the majors in 2023, so he was a great rookie. He had a 113 OPS plus, 16 home runs. He was just 20 years old, but his second year and his third year, he had a negative 2.5 WAR, so he had a 595 OPS, was his 6th worst in MLB and the 4th worst player in baseball when it comes to WAR over his last 2 seasons. Jordan Walker has more WAR in his first 12 games this year than his first 3 seasons combined. And you might be saying, that's insane. However, he had a negative WAR over his first 3 years, so he had more WAR in his first game than his first 3 seasons combined. He had more WAR before the season started, Mitchell. He's hit 5 home runs in 6 games this week, a 459-foot grand slam. He's the 3rd best player in the league by WAR, 4th best hitter in the league by OPS, and leads the league with 7 home runs. And let's move on to the Central, but a different Central, the American League Central. Minnesota Twins have the best record in the American League right now. They're 9-7. They've won 6 of their last 7. 4-game sweep of Mitchell's Tigers. Through 13 total total games, the Twins bullpen has thrown 3 pitches faster than 95 miles per hour. 4 different relievers earned a save in their series against the Tigers. I don't know if that's ever happened. 25th ranked bullpen by ERA, so not a great bull. But their starters are 6th right now, and they're 6th in runs scored. Framber Valdez, through 2 starts, had 10 Ks, only allowed 1 earned run in 12 innings, came into the series with a .75 ERA. Twins, 10 hits, score 8 earned runs against Framber Valdez. His ERA goes from .75 to 4.76 in 1 start. They go against Skubal. Skubal gives up 4 earned runs in 4 2/3, allows 8 hits, can't make it out of the 5th inning. And that's with Byron Buxton having a negative .1 WAR, batting .182. Still, 6th best offense in baseball, and those playoff odds are up to 37.2%. Do not sleep on the fucking Twins. The Tigers, not a great start to the season. They get swept by the Twins. Parker Meadows collides with Riley Green on this play, gets a concussion and a broken arm on the same play. I mean, looks like he briefly gets knocked out. So the Tigers had lost 5 games in a row in 9 of their last 11 games after this series, but they go to Miami. They allow 3 runs in 3 games against the Marlins. Tyler Montero, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, 7 Ks. He's got a 1.74 ERA on the year. For Casey Mize, 1 earned run allowed in 5 2/3, 5 Ks. And Skubal returns after his Twins outing, 6 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, and 7 Ks. Tough start to the week, but great end of the week. And then the Royals lose a series to the Guardians, then split a series against the White Sox. Their offense is struggling mightily. The pitchers are doing great though. Back-to-back games, they shut out the White Sox. Michael Wacha, 8 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts, .43 ERA on the year for Michael Wacha. There's Bubik too, 7 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts, 2.50 ERA on the year. They left the White Sox scoreless for 20 innings in a row, but that's not impressive because the White Sox are terrible at offense. Shocker. Last in runs scored, they have 2 players with OPS pluses over 100. That's Munetake Murakami and Colson Montgomery, who both have a 108 OPS plus. Not gonna get it done. Well, Seth Lugo, also another pitcher on the Royals, who's a beast. 1.53 ERA so far this year. They are 7-9, 2 games back of the Twins and the Guardians. The Guardians are now tied in first. They beat the Royals 2 out of 3, but then lose to the Braves 2 out of 3. Jose Ramirez, who has hit a home run against every single major league team now. Tanner Bybee, who's kind of like their main guy. One of the worst starters in baseball this year. He leads the league in hits allowed, earned runs, and home runs. Yet they still, I think, ranked, 4th or 6th in starters ERA? And last but not least, Jack's Rays. Chandler Simpson is the one really exciting player. He's got a .411 average, 2nd best in baseball, 7 steals, 2nd most steals in baseball, leads the league in batting average, hits, and triples.
He's in the 1st percentile in average exit velocity, 1st percentile in barrel, the slowest bat speed in all of baseball. He's somehow in the 86th percentile in expected batting average.
He doesn't hit the ball hard, but when he hits it, he runs fast as fuck and he gets to first base. I also saw something with Drew Rasmussen. 3 runs allowed in 3 starts, shuts the Yankees down over 6 innings, and Nick Martinez, first full year as a starter, he's got a 2.16 ERA, so that is very Rays-like. Oh, they're 8-7, but first place. But that's gonna do it for me and the boys for week 3 of MLB. Episode 51. Please subscribe. That is all, folks. We'll see you next time.